I often get asked how to deal with dogs barking at people, other dogs, or cars passing by the home. Now we are having more work meetings from home, this can be a real problem. We do need to remember though that some barking is important dog behaviour and some breeds are prone to bark more than others. This kind of territorial barking is very normal for dogs, so we want to make sure that we're not punishing them or using things like anti-bark collars. They're just doing their job and alerting us to potential danger, which is a good thing. In some dogs like Vindy, it could also be anxiety related, so you need to address that underlying issue first by removing them from stressful situations, using calming products, medication, and of course, seeking the help of a qualified trainer or a vet behaviourist. Many dogs are also having the opportunity to rehearse this behaviour again and again when you aren't at home, which means it's being reinforced so it occurs with more intensity and frequency. That's why the first step is to try and prevent them from having the opportunity to bark at their triggers in the first place. Keep them away from the windows or whatever environment it tends to occur in. If you leave your dog in the front yard and they bark, then put them in the backyard or bring them inside. Mask any noises that may trigger them by turning on the radio or TV, of course, pull down the blinds or even put up some screening. You can even get some thin film for your windows as well. You simply can't allow them to keep practicing that unwanted behaviour. Territorial barking can also be managed by teaching them an alternative behaviour when they see their trigger approaching the house, such as quiet or come. What you don't want to be doing is shouting at them constantly, or they may just interpret that you too are joining in their barking and are feeling threatened. I like to use the word come to recall Vindy to disengage him from the trigger and draw him away from the environment, so I can then reward him with a treat for responding to his cue. Plus, he's then also being quiet, so it's reinforcing that desired behaviour. You must make sure you get the timing right though, because you don't want to reward them while they're still barking, which is why I like the alternative command, so there's no room for error. If you practice this enough, you may even find that when they see a trigger approaching, they will start to automatically look over or even come running back to you without the verbal cue. That's our end goal, and I reckon that deserves a big piece of a VitaPet chicken tender to really drive that message home. You can visit the VitaPet website to check out their treat range or for other helpful tips and tricks. Many popular dog breeds actually have a double coat. Of course, not all are as fluffy and fabulous as Mishka the Chow Chow here, but Dakota, what are some that people might not realise?
People would be surprised. There's actually a lot of dogs with double coats out there. A lot of people think of your typical ones when they think of it. Lots of your big shedding breeds, your German Shepherds, your Golden Retrievers, but you'd actually be surprised short hairs can have double coats as well. Dogs like your Labradors and even your Pugs.
Yes.
So most dogs that shed a lot will have a double coat.
Now, with beautiful Mishka here, a lot of people do mistakenly just focus on the outer fur rather than the double coat underneath.
Yes, a lot of people just brush on the top of the coat. So all of your double coats actually have two different layers of coats. They have the top coat and the undercoat. The undercoat is generally a lot more dense and it sits a lot more down at the skin, whereas the top hair is actually your guard hairs.
Yes.
So what their job is to do is to protect your skin and your coat underneath. So it protects them from dirt, the elements, it keeps their skin nice and healthy.
Yes.
So what their coat does, it keeps them cool in the summer and warm in the winter. So it pretty much insulates them. That's its job. When you're brushing, you want to make sure you're getting that double coat out.
Yes.
So you want to be getting right down to the skin and taking it out in layers. You can use a slicker brush on your longer hair like Mishka, and you can use a undercoat rake as well. On your shorter hairs, you can use a silicone brush, which is really good because it's made of silicone. It grips that undercoat and drags it out.
Okay, and it's really important because we need to take it out in the hot weather so that it can circulate, and this can help protect them as well. Now, in terms of washing, what should people be doing with the double coat?
When you're washing, it completely depends on your individual dog. So you can actually be washing your dog up to once a week, as long as you're doing that with really quality shampoo.
Yes.
And you always want to follow with a conditioner. Conditioner is fantastic. Not only does it rehydrate your fur and your skin, it actually helps loosen the undercoat. So when you're trying to remove that undercoat, it loosens it from the hair shaft so that you can remove it a lot more easily. So conditioner is vital with your double coats.
Good to know. Now, Mishka here, a lot of people make the mistake of shaving their double-coated dog, which we just should not be doing.
It's a very common thing and it's a very common misconception. If we're clipping the coat, what we're actually doing is we're damaging that top coat, and in a lot of cases that coat will never grow back the same, or it will change the texture of the hair going forward for the dog's whole life. Some dogs actually never have it grow back and can develop alopecia from it. Very common in Pomeranians. So you want to avoid clipping your dog. Regular demolt's the best thing for them, going to your grooming salon and getting that coat fully blown out, especially in your warmer months.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, any other tips then for these guys?
When you're drying them, try and make sure they're 100%
Yes.
dry, especially right at the skin.
Yes, and washing them off after the beach and the river and then drying them. So
Yes.
taking good care of them.
You want to get that salt water out of their coat after they've been at the beach. It's very drying and it can make that skin quite dry, and we don't want them ingesting it if they're licking themselves either.
No, we don't. Do we, Michigan? No, we don't. If you'd like to find the DGG grooming range, you can find them at your local pet specialty store, including Pet Stock, online or in store. Thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mishka. You did very well. Yes, you did, my gorgeous girl. You're stunning. Dogs experience a broad range of cancers, with approximately 1 in 3 dogs diagnosed with cancer during its lifetime, and 50% of dogs over the age of 10 dying from or with cancer. Is this genetic, or are our food and lifestyle choices impacting as much on our dogs as they are on us? To help answer this question, I'm very excited to be joined by Dr. Karen Shaw-Becker. Thank you so much for joining us today, Karen. This is very exciting. Now, obviously, these numbers that we are talking about here are very similar to what we're experiencing in human population. Are the causes the same?
Indeed, the causes are incredibly similar. In fact, when we interviewed the top human geneticists and oncologists, as well as canine geneticists and oncologists, they told us the same thing. For humans, about 90% of cancer was because of environmental, dietary, our lifestyle influences, 10% being genetic. For dogs, it's about 80% diet and lifestyle and 20% genetics. So that 20% genetics is more so for dogs than for people, partly because we have inbred them, and humans are responsible for what we call gene deletions, which are just dogs that are missing the DNA for healthy, thriving bodies. And so that's the big issue. The benefit and the blessing is that out of this, because of epigenetics, we actually have the ability to up and down regulate some of the DNA that dogs have been given that we may not want to have expressed through wise lifestyle choices. So there is hope.
Our dogs, they can't speak to us. I wish they could. But, this means that often we're finding out about diseases and particularly cancer that they've got much later in the day than what we might in a human. So what are the treatments for dogs and how do they cope with it?
Dogs are perpetual optimists. They're always happy. And so one of the things I have to say as a proactive wellness veterinarian is that it really is up to us as the guardians to check, even though they look magnificent on the outside, we have to do our due diligence and check their internal organ function on an annual basis. By us checking how their kidney and liver function's doing with simple blood tests, we're able to actually determine if those enzymes are out of whack. We can determine why is that, including potentially cancer. But there's also some other additional screening tests that we can use that demonstrate if animals or dogs are carrying genetic markers or genetic predispositions for cancer. But also there are some cancer markers now available with simple, easy blood tests and urine tests that we can do. So we do want to do our due diligence, because if our animals are dealing with the onset of cancer, it's so much easier to help them through it the earlier that it's diagnosed. If we're waiting for our dogs' bodies to give us symptoms and then begin treating or identifying cancer, oftentimes it's too late. So the treatment is very much the same as people. We can do surgery to remove the cancer. We can do radiation and chemotherapy to try and help. But our point of best power is really in identifying abnormal changes early and making sure that we're doing all we can to prevent cancer from occurring in the first place.
Later in the show, we'll find out what Dr. Karen's top tips are to help fight cancer in our dogs. As a Petstock Rewards member, if you purchase any participating brand of premium dog or cat food, including Big Dog, they'll give you 15% brand cashback to use the next time you shop for the same brand, even if it's on promotion. T's and C's apply. Visit the website for details. This week's Breed and Focus is the Affable Old English Sheepdog, and today we're joined by Henry and Dolly. Known for its long, shaggy coat and being the mascot for Dulux Paints for over 60 years, the OES, which is often referred to as, was originally bred to herd sheep and cattle.
These guys are fun-loving and affectionate. They get along well with other dogs and pets and make for a great family dog. They are excitable and love clowning around, so while they're great companions for children, you'll need to watch them around toddlers who can be easily pushed over.
Hardworking and intelligent, they're always looking for something to do, so start obedience training early to help keep their exuberance under control. Because they were bred to work, they require significant physical and mental exercise. Participating in agility or herding sports can be a great outlet for these guys.
OES live for their family and will therefore not cope with being kept in the backyard or alone for long periods. They're prone to separation anxiety and can become destructive if they're left alone too much. So if you work long hours in an office or have a busy lifestyle, then they're not the breed for you.
They are not for clean freaks either. With their shaggy coats, you need to be able to cope with dirt and hair falling all around the place. Some might even drool. Their long hair requires daily brushing to keep it clean and free of mats. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for them to be surrendered to rescue organisations because of the time and cost of caring for their coat.
When it comes to their health, there are a few issues to watch out for, including hip dysplasia, where the ball and socket joint don't quite fit together properly, leading to pain and lameness in dogs as young as 4 months. Eye issues can include cataracts and progressive retinal atrophy or peri, where the retina deteriorates, causing blindness.
Fortunately, most dogs do adapt quite easily to vision loss, provided some steps are taken early and their environment doesn't change too much. So you can check out some tips on our website for that. Any other conditions?
There are, yes. We've got hypothyroidism, where the thyroid gland doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone. Now, this is central to controlling metabolism, and while symptoms can be subtle, they include weight gain, fatigue, hair loss, and skin and ear issues. Deafness is also fairly common and can be detected from as early as 4 weeks of age. That's why it's vital to find a reputable breeder that has run the appropriate tests, including DNA tests, and can provide hip and elbow certificate clearance.
Yeah, the key really is to research the breed that you're looking for and look for an Australian National Kennel Council registered breeder.
And check out pet insurance cover that's right for your breed.
Absolutely.
What? Darcy!
To find out how HIF Pet Insurance can help your pet in times of need, visit hif.com.au.
Many pet owners may not be aware just how dangerous the paralysis tick can be for their dog or their cat. Today we're going to meet Dr. Ben Brown and Bamboo to hear just how deadly the paralysis tick can be.
Hi, Lara.
Hi, Ben. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Come on through.
We're going to meet little Bamboo today. Ben, a lot of people might not realise how many states the paralysis tick is actually found in.
Yeah, that's correct, Lara. The paralysis tick is found down the eastern seaboard of Australia. So from Queensland right down to Tasmania in some cases as well, there's paralysis tick. And it seems to favour areas where there's high rainfall, high humidity, typically from that sort of August, September period through till maybe February.
Okay.
Tends to be the peak time that we see cases of tick paralysis.
Okay. Now, of course, yes, we're coming to you. Bamboo's got a pretty bad story. What happened to him?
Yeah, poor Bamboo suffered from tick paralysis last season. Okay, so Bamboo came to see me struggling to breathe, unable to walk, really in a bad way. The owners were very, very concerned.
Yes.
Bamboo suffered from high-grade tick paralysis, meaning that the back legs and the front legs were completely paralysed, and even Bamboo's ability to swallow was paralysed as well. One of the things that tick paralysis can do in addition to that is actually cause nausea and vomiting. So Bamboo was vomiting and then wasn't able to swallow properly and developed aspiration pneumonia, which is where the vomit goes down into their lungs and causes a serious life-threatening infection. So Bamboo was very, very sick and required 4 days of hospitalisation, oxygen therapy, IV antibiotics, and some significant intensive care to save Bamboo's life.
How do you deal with the paralysis?
So the paralysis is not something that there is a quick fix for. We need to give tick anti-serum to neutralise the tick poison that's in their system to prevent them from getting dramatically worse, but they actually need to produce new nerve receptors at the site where they've been poisoned, and that takes a number of days. So we just have to provide really good nursing care, really good medical care, turning them frequently, even things like lubricating their eyes so they don't develop corneal ulcers because they actually lose the ability to blink in severe cases. So really good nursing care from our amazing team helps to get these little dogs through.
So what should people be doing if they think they're going to a tick area or even just in general?
Well, first and foremost, make sure your dog's on tick prevention. Okay. One of the newer tick preventatives, the oral tick preventatives or the newer tick collars, are the most effective at preventing tick paralysis. The other thing to do is make sure you tick search your pet daily. So that involves going through the coat, really feeling their skin for any little bump that might be a tick. If you notice a tick, check in the ears, in the nose, on the edges of the eye. Most ticks can be found from the shoulders forward. Okay. So particularly focusing on those areas. If you do notice a tick, head down to your vet straight away and have it removed.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it can be very painful and life-threatening.
It can be, particularly if your dog's not on tick prevention.
Lovely. Thank you, Ben.
No worries, my pleasure.
Glad you're doing okay, doing all right now?
Yeah, doing amazingly well now. Yeah, back to normal.
Oh, great to hear. Close call, buddy. Yeah.
A monthly True Light NexGard Spectra can protect your dog from the deadly paralysis tick as well as other ticks, fleas and worms. So make sure your dog is protected no matter where you live.
Sadly, there are many people in society that simply can't afford to provide their pet with the medical care that they need. Jennifer, how is Pet Medical Crisis helping those in desperate need?
Well, we're there for people, particularly pensioners who live just on Centrelink benefits and they have no scope in their budgets to pay for veterinary care. Aged pensioners, disability pensioners, people who are really doing it tough. It's called Pet Medical Crisis, but it's actually not a pet charity. It's a charity for people in need.
Yes.
So we have to ascertain that people are in genuine need.
Yes.
So there's a screening process there. And we ask the vets to act as not-for-profit as they can for the vet and the owner to try and work out a solution themselves by discounting, using maybe a different way of treating a pet that's as effective but not as expensive. And we get the vet to discount where they can, the owner to contribute what they can, and we aim to bridge the gap up to $1,000 in treatment.
Right. And so what are some of the cases that you've helped?
Oh, there's
many.
There's 1,045 to date. That's in April 2022.
Yes.
So we're doing about 7 a week. We're helping a lady at the moment who has terminal cancer and her pet is everything to her. And it's vitally important to keep the bond between the owner and the pet. And for her, that dog is so important to keep alive.
Of course.
We've got the veterinary care done and we got the most beautiful email the other day thanking us for getting her baby back home to her. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And how is the Petspiration Foundation supporting your work?
Oh, Petspiration has been absolutely vital to our work and we've found that so many pensioners and everybody has problem with their dental care for their pets. When you can't afford it though, it just gets worse and worse. The pets get sicker and sicker and often they have to even be euthanised or die a really
painful, slow and hurts too.
Yeah, that's right. So Petspiration have funded 80 of our dentals last year, which has been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and helped us so much and helped so many people in need.
And how can people out there who might like to donate or who are struggling and might need some help, how can they get in touch?
They can just go to petmedicalcrisis.com.au. You can also just tell your vet and ask the vet or a friend to look us up, and the applications are online. It's a very simple process to go through. All donations over $2 are tax deductible. For public, when they donate 100% of what they donate, it's really important to us that people feel confident that their donation really goes to help save that life, to really improve the life of a pensioner's pet.
Oh, lovely. So by donating to Pet Medical Crisis, you could literally be saving the life of a pet in need. So visit their website, and to learn more about the Petspiration Foundation, visit theirs.
Earlier this episode, I was chatting with Dr. Karen Shaw-Becker, co-author of The Forever Dog, to find out how we can prevent cancer in our dogs.
Well, there are some key preventive strategies actually that are really important. And when I went to the Broad Institute, the top epigenetic triggers, both for people and dogs, many of them are what you think. Nutrient levels in food. So whether the food has enough nutrients or not. Polyphenol levels in food, which are those bioactive molecules that specifically help minimize oxidative stress. Chemicals in food or lack of chemicals in food. Chemicals, of course, have the potential to change DNA and can be damaging to our dog's body. Physical activity is a given. We know that exercise is a powerful tool, or potentially lack of exercise contributing to abnormal cell growth. Stress is a given. Obesity, obviously. Pesticide exposure, heavy metals, those are found in a whole variety of different sources in the water, in the foods that we're feeding. And then endocrine disrupting chemicals, which comes from things like plastic water bowls and then particulate matter, which is basically secondhand smoke and air pollution. So all of those 11 steps are within our control in the sense that we have the list, we can identify our dog's susceptibility, and then we can do something about it.
Now, we obviously know that a complete and balanced fresh raw food diet is something, I'm very passionate about. You obviously are as well. But not everyone is able or willing to feed that. What can they add to really boost their dog's system and potentially, hopefully, ward off that cancer?
Well, one of the things we know, and that every researcher we talked to was very clear about, is that dogs have a very high DHA and EPA requirement, which means they need a lot of those omega-3 fatty acids coming from primarily seafood that naturally not just help maintain skin health and brain health, cognition, but actually really critical for immune health as well as managing inflammation. And most of the top researchers we talked to, they were very clear that most cancers start as low-grade festering inflammation. So just adding in omega-3 fatty acids at the time of feeding is a really important step. And that in and of itself is a dramatic improvement to ultra processed food. The second thing I would have everyone think about is what are we doing for gut health? We know that actually our dog's largest immune organ is the small intestine. And so by us nurturing and caring for our dog's microbiome, we can in turn make gut resiliency stronger and in turn their immune system stronger and more resilient. So thinking about probiotic foods, thinking about foods with high prebiotic fiber content. And if our pets simply will not eat fresh foods, then we can also use probiotic supplements. But if we think about just supporting our pet's inflammatory status and nourishing their gut biome, those are two really important steps that every pet parent can think about when it comes to easy, simple things we can do to improve that bowl.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Karen. If you would like to know a little bit more about fresh food diets as well, of course, this story is brought to you by Big Dog Pet Foods, so please do visit their website. We're going to chat to you on socials a little bit more as well, so thanks again, and I do hope to speak to you in person one of the future series.
Thank you so much.
To learn more about the Forever Dog book, visit foreverdog.com. Would you like to win a Pawson prize pack worth over $2,000? One lucky person will win a year's supply of VitaPet treats, Big Dog Pet Foods, NextGuard Spectra monthly chews, a $250 pet stock gift voucher, DGG grooming and apparel, and a year's subscription to Dog TV. Plus, there's 6 consolation prizes featuring my latest book, World of Dogs, with a VitaPet treat bundle. To enter, sign up to our e-news and tell us the name of one of the charities featured this series. All entries will receive a free ebook on how to create a happy, healthy dog, so visit poochesatplay.com. That brings us to the end of this week's episode, but there's plenty more information and entertainment on the Pooches at Play website and social media platforms. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.